Tonight.
It is 7:05 on your Monday evening. It is the week of the 31st edition of the Amiga Dubai Desert Classic, the oldest golf tournament in the Middle East. And somehow, I'm not sure how we've managed to persuade these guys to come in and give us an hour of their time, Chris McCarty. But we're joined in studio by two greats, two men who have tasted major success on the world of golf stage.
We have indeed. Martin Kaymer, a two-time major winner, 2010 PGA Championship, 2014 US Open Championship. And we say a very good evening to Martin now. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening.
Great
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you
me.
in the studio. And he's joined by another man, a man who's put on that famous green jacket. I take you back to 2016, Masters champion. It is the one and only Danny Willett. We say good evening, Danny.
Good evening.
Great to have you boys in.
We've clipped up a couple of highlights for you guys.
This is just to butter you up,
Let's start
essentially.
with Danny. Let's wind our memories back to 2016.
Been watching all the Nicklaus tributes this week. The 30-year anniversary of the epic 86 Masters. Jack and Jackie together. Jackie wore bib number 89 when he caddied for his dad 30 years ago. And Jonathan Smart, bib 89 for Danny Willett.
Danny, thinking about that, superstitions in golf are commonplace. But when you reflected on the fact that your caddy wore the same bib as Jack, and I think you'd become the next Englishman since Nick Faldo 20 years afterwards to win the Masters. If you weren't superstitious, maybe that was the time to get superstitious.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things that go on, and people kind of, stats guys pick numbers from everywhere, and yeah, the bib one was kind of the most iconic. And I'm not sure if Jack was last man in that week, but obviously because Zach was born the week before, we were last man in 2016. So yeah, to see the pictures of Jack when he won all them years ago, and then myself and Smarty with the bib on, it's pretty cool.
And Martin, your victory in 2014 at the US Open, it was iconic, and it was by a huge margin as well.
Just like he did all week. Runs it home, and Martin Kaymer is a U.S. Open champion at Pinehurst. Very impressive.
The voice there at the end of Johnny Miller, who shot maybe one of the all-time great US Open rounds at Oakmont in 1973. And when he's saying what you did at Pinehurst was impressive, that must be kind of surreal to hear.
Well, it wasn't a very impressive performance for myself too. You know, after 2 rounds, I was 10 under par, which was very surprising for me, because when I played the practice round after Wednesday, I got asked where I can see the winning score. And I said, you know, so maybe 2 or 3 over par will have a good chance. So I really underestimated my game and everything. You know, I had no idea how to play the golf course, apparently. In the end, I played it really, really well. It didn't really match with my thought on Wednesday after my round. But then the challenge was to keep the expectations low over the weekend and don't try to match the same score on Thursday and Friday. It's a new day, it's a new 18 holes ahead of you, and that was the biggest thing for me and the most difficult thing.
2 career highlights for the both of you. I mean, give us an insight, and I'll come to you, Danny. I mean, we see you side by side here. I mean, for those out there that don't follow golf, or perhaps are naysayers when it comes to the sport of golf, give us an insight. How close are you guys, the guys on tour? I mean, you travel all around the world. I appreciate that, you know, there is a lot of travel. You're staying in luxurious kind of places. Do you guys, and it might not be Martin, it could be another players and others out there, do you socialise? Are you all close on tour?
Yeah, you get obviously different mixes. You know, guys with families, guys without families, guys who are single, guys who are married or got girlfriends, whatever it may be. You know, I think probably I'd say less social these days, purely because when the family travels and stuff, you know, you've got obligations to help look after the kids, and then when you do get a chance, you obviously try and go out and see friends. I've known Martin for a lot of years now, and both played in America at the same time, both played in Europe at the same time. Martin's done a hell of a lot for the game, you know, within European golf, for Ryder Cups, and obviously being world number 1, 2 majors. It's an impressive resume, and obviously we've been out a few times for dinner and stuff, but yeah, you end up, you don't really play the same schedules. You don't sit down all the lads and match your schedules up so you can go out for dinner with each other. You play what schedule matches where you're going, and a lot of the time you know, various parts of the world, travelling on your own, and yeah, you meet up with the guys and you go for dinner and a couple of beers, and I think it's probably a bit more sociable on the European Tour than what it is on PGA Tour.
You mentioned their family. I appreciate you've got teams that travel with you as well. Does it ever get, and I want to delve straight into, does it ever get lonely, Martin, honestly? You ever on tour? Because the riches and all the money that you guys play for on a weekly basis, you travel the world, you get to see some beautiful places. Are you ever lonely as a golfer?
There's a good book that Thomas Bjorn wrote, or that he was involved in. A few of the players. I don't know if Danny was involved as well. That came out after the Ryder Cup. The golfers, what was it called again? Golfers Mind Game. I think it was called Mind Game, and it's talked a lot about that loneliness of athletes in general, but also for us golf players. I wouldn't say I feel lonely sometimes, but you feel alone, and I think there's a difference that. Loneliness can be depressive as well.
Yeah.
But that was even more important, to surround yourself with good people, bring them out sometimes, ask your friends, ask your family to join you to certain tournaments in the world. Make it a fun week. Golf is just a very small part of our life. It's a big part, but in general, it's a very small part. So you need to find that balance, and you need to ask people that care about you, that you care about them, and to bring them out to enjoy the weeks together. And then, I noticed I feel a lot more comfortable, and then I can enjoy the game more. And what you said earlier, those luxury hotels, food, places where we go, you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it always more when you have someone with you instead of doing it by yourself.
Golf's it's a strange game in many ways, and as you guys say, it's an individual sport, but also there's always a constant need, I suppose, to be evolving one's game. And we've seen Tiger Woods, I think he changed his swing about 4 times. When you're out on tour and you're always hearing different ideas and you've got different things that you want to work on with your swing, and you achieve something like you guys have done, which is win major championships, sort of how do you keep moving forward? Is there always that sort of willingness, that want, that desire, Danny, to tinker about and to sort of fiddle about with things? Or is it about maintenance? Is it about sort of keeping what you've been doing and continuing to do that?
I don't really know, to be honest. I think, obviously, Martin has been world number 1, so then there is nothing else. Theoretically, there is no further you can go. So then do you try and maintain, or do you then keep trying to push boundaries? I think a lot of us look up to Tiger is because he was obviously world number 1 for a hell of a long time, and we then saw him change things and trying to keep pushing boundaries and trying to keep getting better and better. I think he's probably driven a lot of people to try and do the same thing behind him. I don't think I enjoy trying to maintain playing all right or playing well. You want to keep getting better. If there's something you could improve on, then you might as well start straight away and then try and improve on that going forward, because you know that down the line it might not happen in the next week or the next month or the next year even. But if it's something that's going to help you 10 years from now, then it's probably something worthwhile doing.
The process and we were quite fortunate, we sat down with Bryson DeChambeau, the golfing scientist, and we asked the question to him this past week, do you enjoy the process more than the competition? And he said, yeah, probably, I do. I like tinkering with things. I enjoy that. I enjoy learning about the game and learning about myself playing the game more than maybe I do the competition. With regards to what you boys get out of the game, and I'll come to you first and foremost, Martin. I mean, you're a 2-time major winner. You've won 3 Ryder Cups. I mean, what keeps you still playing the game of golf? Is it the love of it? Is it pressure from sponsors? Where does your drive to continue? And I guess the second point of that question, does it matter to you moving forward if you ever win another major, truthfully?
Well, I think moving forward is the most important, but you need a plan. You need a plan in order to move forward. So, and I think the biggest mistakes that a lot of athletes do and a lot of people in general do, that I've also done, is compare yourself with others. What Danny just said, is it about maintaining the number 1 in the world like Tiger did? But it's always about other people. They have done it. You get compared, you get rated, and our sport is about results. I get that. But for me, talking about loneliness and being alone, there was probably the most loneliness moment in my career to be number 1 in the world that evening, because there was no one there to celebrate it with. So, and people treat you very different, and that was very strange for me, and I didn't really enjoy that. So what I really enjoyed was that whole process, the way to get there, and that is motivating me to try a different way. You know, I got criticized a lot for trying to hit a draw from the tee, because I was never able to do this. So why doesn't he continue with his fade? Because he keeps winning tournaments. But it's not all about the results. For other people, it's about the results. But for me, it wasn't about the result. It's about moving forward. And what Danny said, maybe what is down the line the next 5-10 years, that is important, because we can have such a long career. So you sacrifice a couple of years for the long run. In other sports, you can't really do this. But this is, I think, what golf players, where our luxury is the time that we have, because our career can be 20 years or more.
So on that point then, does winning another major, does it matter to you? And honestly, and I'm asking for...
Of course. I mean, it matters hugely. Otherwise, I wouldn't... I have a really bad motivation to win the other two majors that I haven't won yet. You know, then I can quit. Then I won everything. Then I wouldn't travel.
If you won the Masters and you won the Open, would you quit?
Well, I wouldn't travel 30 weeks a year. I wouldn't do this. You know, I would really just play the tournaments that really make me happy. I go to places that I really enjoy. Sometimes you go to places that you don't really like, but it's just part of the job. And, you know, practicing in the wintertime for 4, 5, 6 weeks away from the family over Christmas, New Year's. But this is what I'm doing in order to win those two majors. I wouldn't do this if I would have won all 4 majors.
And that actually indicates, because we always wonder whether we overblow the significance of major championships in the media. And there's no doubt the media zoom in on the majors and they make a huge deal of that. But as players, Danny, I mean, your life must have changed dramatically when you won the Masters. And I guess expectations that you put on yourself must have also changed when you won the Masters as well. I mean, what would be the most sort of profound way that your life did change following that week in Augusta?
Yeah, you kind of we were watched then from morning till night. Every time we stepped on a driving range on a putting green at a golf tournament, 12 hours a day, there was a camera crew following you around. What's he doing here? What's he doing here? You know, and before that week, I think we were still 20th in the world. We were still, you know, as far as athletes go, it's pretty good at what you do. But someone wasn't following you around all the time. And then, obviously, the weeks after that, every tournament you went to, there was just more demands on your time. We just had Zach, so, you know, there's more demands on your time in other walks of life as well. And for me, it became a little bit too much to try and juggle and make everyone happy. I travelled a little bit more because people wanted you to go play in Asia and around the world and go do clinics here and there and stuff. And I went and did them. But then you get to the end of the year and I was pretty burnt out. I was tired. When you get tired, you do things wrong. Your injuries crop up. Mentally, you're fatigued. You know, it just kind of started to snowball a bit in a bad way, really, from there, which was a shame because we just obviously had Zach and I wanted to be at home seeing him more, but the demands on my time for golf and stuff were probably the most they've ever been. So, yeah, I really struggled to kind of juggle everything and to get, you know, my time locked down and properly arranged. So, you know, if hopefully, fingers crossed, I get to win another major, and then I will do things slightly differently next time.
Guys, it's great to have you in. It's fantastic to have you guys in. We're having an open, honest discussion about all things golf. Alberto's been in touch. Big fan of both of you. He just says, no way, Danny Willett, amazing. Have you got a question, Alberto, that you want to follow up with that? He says, Martin, saw you at the Rio Olympics. You were a massive fan of golf getting back into the Olympics. Of course, we're going to see that return in Tokyo in a few months' time. You were one of the guys that kind of came out amidst all the skepticism, and you said, there's no way this can be a bad thing. This has to be a good thing for golf.
Yeah, I mean, I think as an athlete, how can you not want to go to the Olympics? But again, I also said in press conferences before, we got so driven in those sports, you know, Formula 1, basketball, football, ice hockey, whatever it is, and also golf, so driven by money.
Yeah.
You know, it gets in the way sometimes. And I just wanted to feel that atmosphere. I wanted to see the best athletes in their sport. I want to see how they prepare, and I want to feel that that preparation that they put in there, everything. I want us to enjoy all those special moments that they write history, really. And so therefore it was never really a question for me not to go to Rio.
On that subject, can you guys remember the last time a putt or a shot financially mattered to you, and whether that changed, you know, can you remember when you were starting out in just getting into professional golf, when you were thinking, I've got to make this cut to make this check, and money was actually, because we've got a MENA golf tour out here where these guys are plugging away, and it's, you look at the range, they all stripe it, they all hit it great, but yet golf is so competitive now, and these guys are going out and making a cut can be the difference between being able to afford a flight to go to another tournament.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
Yeah, no, I quite like mine. I quite like my first ever tour event was at Celtic Manor, and I got an invite. I just turned pro, and I needed an eagle down the last to make the cut, and I had to go for it over the water at Celtic Manor. It was freezing cold. It was into, so I've just got it over the water. I have like a 50-yard pitch up and over. I couldn't see it, and pitched in. Made $3,500 that week. First ever check.
That was what it was.
First ever check. But just gave you the ability though then to play on the weekend and to see where you really stood. Funnily enough, at the time I obviously wasn't amazing. We finished like 60th, but yeah, it was one of those. At the moment, I had my mum, my dad, brother's wife, just people there, and it was a pretty surreal little moment. It was quite nice.
I love that. That's a real good moment. A lot of messages coming in for both of you. I want to come back to your major successes if we can, because let's talk highs and then we'll maybe look at some lows as well. In terms of your 2 wins, Martin, because you did them in contrasting fashion. You had a playoff win against Bubba, which I would imagine tested the nerves, and then you had that incredible performance to win the US Open by 8 shots. When you compare them and contrast them, what one gives you the greater satisfaction?
Well, you said it tested my nerves in 2010. It didn't at all. There was a funny thing about that day. That's that Sunday afternoon when I was in the playoff. We had 3 holes to go, and at that time I said to my manager and to my caddy, this is how it most likely will play out, because Bubba, he can get home. He will drive the first hole because he's so long. So I need to pick up a birdie on the next 2 holes to equal the score or something. So maybe I should birdie 17, and then we go to 18, and then we'll see who makes par or maybe even birdie. So I was not really nervous at all because I was overwhelmed. Afterwards, I reflected on it. I was overwhelmed by the position that I was in because I didn't really realize what I was doing. My goal was to make the Ryder Cup team that week. It was. So
you thought the easiest way to do that would be to win a major?
No, for me it was just important to finish in the top 10. Top 10 secured my spot in the Ryder Cup team, and I never played Ryder Cups before, and it was in Europe that year, so I thought that would be amazing. And then all of a sudden, I saw myself on the leaderboard, at the top after 6 or 7 holes, and then I said to Craig, it's amazing. Whatever happens today, it doesn't really matter because I can say in my career I led a major championship, and then it turns out like this. So it wasn't really nervy. In 2014 it was worse because of the expectations. It was very difficult. The Sunday was so hard to play because I played with Ricky Fowler on Sunday afternoon. Obviously we played in America. There were not that many fans for me. It's understandable. He's an American guy. He's very likable, and they were very fair though. But it was very difficult to play because you think, everything is going well. There's no issues. You get up and downs from everywhere. You hit good drives, and then you need to see the first 3-4 holes. And if you get away with the first 3-4 holes, then you have a feel for the day, and then you can go. And fortunately, the first 4-5 holes they went really well, and then I could enjoy how well I was playing. It was really, really enjoyable how good I played that week. It was probably one of the best, or probably the best week of my career, the way I play golf.
The 2014 success.
Yeah, in the US Open. Yeah.
Well, you finished at, what was it, 9 under in a course where, as you said at the start, you weren't supposed to be able to really break par. I think 1 under was second place.
It was Ricky, and I'll throw a player at you, Rob, because I often poke fun at the fact. Eric Compton.
He had a heart condition, didn't he?
Did he really?
Yeah, he had a heart condition. Amazing story. Yes,
2 or 3 times.
That's right. Yeah, that was incredible. But
always used to get done for slow play, but obviously because he couldn't get his heart rate too elevated. So
wow.
Wow.
And Danny, I mean, the Masters 2016, it was a chaotic, as it so often is at Augusta with the back nine and the things that can happen. They've happened time and time again. Jordan going in the water twice on the 12th. You you'd been playing brilliantly that final day. You would go on to shoot a round of 67. But when your chance came, first of all, you mustn't have been expecting it to have arrived at the point that it did because of where Jordan was. But then you just went into this zone. You just kind of closed it out. You hit this incredible chip on the 17th to about a foot, and you were flawless basically the last 4 or 5 holes. Talk to us about what that going into that zone feels like when there's so many distractions, so many roars, and all that stuff going on around you.
Yeah, it was obviously a strange scenario because we were, well, basically me and Westy and anybody else that was there were playing for second place. Jordan was so far in front; it was 5 shots in front with 9 holes to play.
That's where the mindset was at. You're thinking, yeah, it's second place I'm playing for here.
Five shots is a lot around that golf course. It just is. You know, I think historically, if you look back at Augusta, nobody ever wins that place from outside the top 18 at any one time in the tournament. I think it's from out the last 35 years. So you've always got to be within touching distance of doing it. But obviously Jordan had put a little bit of distance between himself and myself and Westy, and 5-shot lead with 9 holes to go is usually a formality. That being said, Augusta's back 9 is why people enjoy it so much. You've got some really tricky holes in 10, 11, 12 round Amen corner, and then you've got, in my opinion, 4 phenomenal chances at birdie in a row, 13, 14, 15, 16. With how the flags are on a Sunday, I've watched it for years on TV, and you know where the flags are going to be. You've seen shots hit from Tiger, from Phil, from Bubba, from everyone into certain pins, and you know that you can get them if you're in the right places to start with. So, we were just trying to make birdies all day, trying to just keep the foot down and see if anyone made a hiccup. And obviously we'd just finished on 15, and Jordan obviously had his issues on 12, and then from there it was just nice to be able to actually take that opportunity that I've seen a lot of people mess up in the past, and actually take my chances and really go at it. And obviously made birdie up 16, had a great par save on 17, and then knocked it safely on the green on the last. You know, because again, once that has been done, you've knocked it on the last, you can then, again, you can make a lot of messes up the last hole, and once we were on the green in 2, it was then a pretty enjoyable walk because I'd basically done everything I could. Apart from holding that putt, there was nothing else that I could do. I just had to then sit and wait for 40 minutes and watch and see.
You've both done a very good job of making winning a major championship seem a bit matter of fact, like you're just out for a stroll with your mates playing the weekly medal. We're talking all things golf. We're reminiscing on their major championship victories, Ryder Cup experiences, highs and lows of 2 great careers. It's great to have you in with us, guys. We were talking Masters just a few moments ago, Danny, and just to continue that conversation if we can, because I've heard it described as the most awkward ceremony in all of sports, the Butler Cabin presentation ceremony. The green jacket is probably the coolest prize in all of sports, and that Butler Cabin ceremony is the most awkward, or at least it seems like that. You could cut the tension with a knife. And you had Jordan, you told us off air, not minutes before or since he'd finished his round, that he had to come in and go through that with you.
Yeah, obviously that scenario was strange because Jordan was defending champion. History writes that the defending champion puts the jacket on the new champion, welcoming it into Augusta National. I mean, obviously for it to happen that quickly as the situation unfolded on that Sunday, I think was, probably there's easier things to do, isn't there? You know, you flip that and you look at when me and Sergio did it. I mean, I was nearly crying for him. I was down there with his family, waiting for him to come in. I'd missed a cut, so I'd had a couple of glasses of red. I got my jacket on. I was having a great day. You know, because we're close friends, and to see someone do that, and is it being his first major, and knowing how that felt for me, and having his family there and having friends there, it was, 2 very, very, very different.
Let's get one thing straight, because as I say, I watched it again. Robbie on the drive down, you've got to see this. I watched it. I mean, Jordan is distraught. You can clearly see on his face.
He's in shock.
He's in shock is what he is. You're right. He stumbles over his chair. No handshake was forthcoming. You don't hold that against him.
But you've got to put the jacket on.
There was no, but it just. But
you can't shake the hand and put the jacket on simultaneously.
Well, there's ways you can, but he's just caught up in the fact that it's minutes after his round, and bygones be bygones after that. There was no issue there between.
Oh no, he's one of, if not the nicest person on tour. I think the fact that the ceremony is so close to finishing in that particular situation is, frankly, probably slightly cruel.
Yeah.
A massive thing that happened in golf. I want to get your thoughts on this, Martin. I mean, Tiger last year, a lot has been said about what he did at the Masters. You was someone that leapt to his defence when everyone was enjoying kicking him when he was down. This was a couple of years ago when he was seemingly heading towards retirement. He was really at his lowest ebb, didn't think that he'd ever play golf again, wondered whether he could play with his kids again. fusion surgery to come back and win the Masters in the way that he did. I mean, they said it in the broadcast. I think Jim Nantz said it was the greatest scene in golf that he'd ever witnessed. I mean, from a player's perspective, were you guys as blown away as we were all blown away?
It was super, super inspiring. You know, to see that, it really, really motivates you again. You know, if you lack any motivation, that must motivate you. And I don't really know if we can honor that success more, because, you know, no one really knows what he went through. You know, the body is one thing, but the expectations mentally, you know, going to Augusta again with all the hype around him, and then he plays well the first 2 rounds. He put himself in a position after 3 rounds to win the Masters again. You know, mentally to do all that is, I don't know if you can put this in words, how difficult it is, because we've all been in situations where it's so, I mean, it's dramatic, you know, roller coasters of emotions. When you see my win in Sawgrass in 2014, you know, there was a rain delay and back to the clubhouse, and I didn't think we're going to play the same day. Then you go out again, you know, all those things that happen on the golf course, and that he managed it so well. You can't, I mean, I think I really underestimated Tiger Woods. I didn't think that he could do that. You know, that was amazing. Already winning the FedEx Cup, or the FedEx that tournament the year before.
The Tour Championship, yeah.
The Tour Championship, and then winning another major. You know, I was really happy for the game of golf, that we are so pleased to have him in our golf team, and that we can be part of that historical moment.
Can I ask, Martin, what compelled you, and we discussed it on our show, what was it, 2 years ago now, you came out, you videoed yourself coming to the defence of Tiger, just saying, guys, listen, we're human beings at the end of the day. Yes, we're golfers. Yes, we're athletes and sportsmen. We're there to be shot at. It's the nature of sport in many respects. But what made you say, listen, enough's enough, I want to have my piece?
It was a very interesting situation, because I was at home in Germany, and I watched the news on a news channel where you don't watch anything about sport. It was just normal news worldwide, you know, all the wars in the world and all those sad things. And then Tiger Woods came up, and I thought, wow, okay. And then I was laying in bed in the evening. I couldn't really fall asleep, because I was still thinking about that little thing that they showed about Tiger, you know, the picture.
The DUI, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, I mean, why do people do this, you know? And then I got messages the same day about this video, and I wonder, why do people focus always on the things that are bad, and also the news? Why are they all so negative? Is it because we are so insecure as a person? Is it easy to be mean to others? You know, you should be so grateful for what he has done in sports, and is very disrespectful towards all his efforts, his success. His whole he changed the game for us the last 20 years, and I just found it ridiculous and really, really bad from people and the media, the way they treated Tiger Woods, that person, not the athlete, but the person. And I thought, you know, and then I turned on the light on the nightstands, and I took my phone out, and I just wanted to record it for myself. And then I sent it to my manager, and I said, you know, this is what I think about Tiger Woods, and about the whole scenario right now. The way people treat him is not good. And then we decided to post it. It was not so much because I wanted him to see it. I wanted to make people aware of the person behind the athlete.
And that's what people forget these days. Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of the double-edged sword of social media. And you guys, now that you're on social media, you get to control what you're putting out and how you kind of project yourself. You don't have to rely on magazines or TV shows or radio stations to do that. You have your own platform now. But I mean, Danny, if it springs to mind, you know, the scrutiny of the Ryder Cup, and you know, your brother writing a column and that sort of stuff, you know, that must have been quite tricky for you.
We played together that week.
We did play together that week. Martin took me under his wing and protected me.
Well,
no, I didn't.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
I don't think anyone could have. It is. But like Martin said, it's people. People don't. They get things out of context. They don't know the full gist of what's gone on, what's been said, what was actually written. In that case, a lot of people just got snippets of a certain article, and people took it and blew it way out of proportion, and then it ended up being talking point of that week, which was a shame because that week was supposed to be about golf. It was supposed to be about one of the best golf tournaments in the world biannually, and and it was a shame kind of how it all came to the forefront, and how it all kind of set off unnecessary things.
On that basis then, Danny, I mean, that Ryder Cup, bad memory. I mean, obviously, I think you lost that Ryder Cup, if memory serves me, but the memories of that week, is that something you want to exercise? You want to maybe try and get into this Ryder Cup team in 2020 and just put that to one side and actually say, hey, listen, 2016's past, I want to kind of rewrite history in that regard?
I mean, I want to get in the team. It's not my main focus to get in the team. My main focus for me is to stay healthy and to play good golf. And if I continue to do that, then we will be back in that team at Whistling Straits. And yes, it would be nice to go back there actually playing well. When I went there last time, like I said earlier, the middle of 2016 was incredibly hectic for me with what had happened. And by the time I got there, I was tired. The body wasn't very good. I was injured. I wasn't swinging well. So I think if I'd have played well that week, it probably would have been a lot easier to digest a lot of the things that were going on. But because I knew I wasn't playing very well, that scenario became even harder. So it'd just be nice, just to get back there playing good golf, knowing that I can be in that team, be part of that team, and try and help that team win.
Does the fact it's at Whistling Straits, Martin, where you won, of course, in 2010, the PGA, is that extra motivation, or is that completely irrelevant for you in terms of your desire to get back on a Ryder Cup team?
I noticed when we went back to Celtic Manor and also Glen Eagles, their golf course is never the same. When you play the Ryder Cup, is very, very different. But I would like to play again. I would like to come back to a place where I had major success, where my career really started, and to play, as Danny said, one of the biggest tournaments that we have in golf on that golf course, where a great thing happened for me. It will be quite cool to do it there.
Can I ask you both, do you watch it? If you don't make the team, do you make a point of, right, fellas, your mates, come round, pizzas are ordered, we're sitting down and we're watching the Ryder Cup? Do both of you do that?
I don't know about you, but I watched it in 2018 and it was horrible. It was good, but it was horrible. Good that Europe won, but it was, fair enough. The 12 guys who were there, they were better than me. So it's fine. They should be there. They should be playing. But I also need to thank them, because it's definitely a huge motivation, because you want to be that 12th man. You want to be that man in the team. And it was both things. Obviously, in the end of the day, it's just a tournament that we play. But once you have been there and you won it, you want to be part of that win, because it gives you so much as a golf player.
Danny, you were nodding there. You watched it.
I watched
hating it, enjoying it. Where's your kind of full gamut of emotions?
No, it's amazing to watch. One of the best nights I ever had was actually watching Medinah. I'd driven up to the Dunhill Links early, and I told Nick, which is now my wife, Nick, that we were just going to go for a quick drink in the Dunveig and have a bit of food and then go back and we'd be in bed. And at 3 a.m, we were jumping on tables, hammered, because I thought it was going to last. The guys were getting paggered.
Yeah,
and
pure drama.
It was amazing. So we sat there, and there was a few people mingling around at 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then by 11 o'clock it was getting exciting. Nick's like, "Are we going?" No. This is going to get really good. And then, like I said, 2, 3 in the morning, everyone's on top of tables. It was, I watch it all the time. You watch it because it's amazing. Like Martin said, you want to be there. 2016 was my first real chance of actually making the team. 2014 I was a ways away. And obviously then 2018 I was miles away. So this next time will be interesting. But you do watch it. You cheer the lads on. The golf course that they played at the Paris National, we know. So you look and you see how good they played. I think how the Americans underestimated that golf course. Potentially not being prepared. That golf course is brutal, especially with the win they had and how the golf course was set up. So it was a fantastic watch. But at the back of your mind, you're still gritting your teeth, because you feel like you should be there. You want to be there. In no way, shape or form was I playing good enough to be there, but you want to be back there.
The Miracle of Medinah, that was one of our top moments of the decade in sport, when we were looking back on it just a few weeks ago, in all the great moments that had occurred in sport. And you were the guy, Martin, that got to hit the winning putt. And I remember speaking to you about whenever 2012 it was, and you said you treated it as a gift, an opportunity, something that was a great moment for you before hitting the winning putt. Most people would have been absolutely quaking in their boots at the prospect of having to hole, what was it, like a 7 or 8 foot putt to win the Ryder Cup to cap that comeback.
I like it. It
How
gets
did
longer
you-
and longer, that putt.
Yeah, it was 15
It was
feet.
about it.
No, it was not a gimme though.
Yeah, no, it was
15
6 or
through
7. It was a tester.
It was a
good
tester,
yeah.
right? But talk to us about that mentality to be able to treat it in that moment under that pressure as being a brilliant thing. Oh, cheers, guys!
Yeah, but
it's down to me.
The good thing is I was not aware of my thoughts, and that was a gift. You know, I was obviously realizing where I'm at and what is going to happen here, or what kind of chance I have now. But I didn't need to force myself to not think about the things that you don't want to think about. So it was, for me, a very clear thought. This is part for the Ryder Cup now. I mean, what an amazing chance I have now. It was very clear. You know, it was very positive. There was no second of doubt that I will miss the putt. I did 3 times in my career, and there was one time at the Ryder Cup where I knew at that time that I'm gonna miss the putt, that I make the putt before it actually went in. You know, a lot of people say, why didn't you just lag the first putt? Just hit it close. It's not, you know, it's difficult sometimes to lag a putt, especially if your mentality is for 17 holes to make it. It's not a stroke play, you play match play, so it's about making them. The hole is there, so why not trying to make it? And I also tried that on 18, you know, to hold the first putt. So that was very natural to continue your game plan. I didn't need to think, or didn't need to force myself to think something, you know, okay, you know, maybe you can 3-putt this now, but no, but it's just a very easy putt uphill, right to left. You know, you've done 1,000,000 times. It was very clear. I knew exactly where I was. I was enjoying the moment so much. I was watching on the screen behind me when they showed Bernhard Langer's putt when he missed it, and I saw it.
Oh no! What?
But that was when
That was 91, wasn't it?
when I played against Steve Stricker, didn't I? Yeah, against Stricker, and because he was standing over that 10, 12 footer for par, and I watched Bernhard in the background.
Someone did that on purpose, right? Someone was playing a loop of bad
think so.
European Ryder Cup moments.
But that was so
On
beautiful
purpose.
that I saw it, but I didn't realize it. You know, that was beautiful. I saw the images, but it didn't get to me at all. I didn't judge that moment at all. So and then
Someone in the Americas,
Just
right?
over it.
Find a German player who missed a putt in the Ryder Cup. Put it up on that big screen. Martin's coming up now.
exactly. Yeah, and that's why it was such a gift. You know, that's why it was such a gift in terms of the moment. That was created by Sergio, by Justin Rose, who made those amazing putts. Ian Poulter down the stretch. You know, I got that gift from them, handed, and I used it beautifully.
The reason these guys have very kindly given up an hour of their time to join us in studio is the fact that in a couple of days, it is the start of the 31st edition of the Amiga Dubai Desert Classic. It's a tournament that, Danny, you have won. You won it the year that you went on to win the green jacket at Augusta National as well. And for both of you guys, long-serving players in that tournament, you've both played it numerous times. It's a special one for the European Tour, 31 editions, the oldest tournament in the Middle East, and I think it's the first outside of Europe that the European Tour actually branched out and played an event outside the European continent. But from a player perspective, Danny, your thoughts on this week in the Desert Classic?
Yeah, it's a great week. I've been coming here for 8-9 years now. Fantastic week, fantastic golf course at the Majlis at the Emirates. And like you say, it is pretty iconic. You come here every year and the place changes, you know, so rapidly within 12 months. And they keep continuing to change the golf course, making it better. The tournament itself has become massive now. You know, you've had the best players in the world. Tiger's been here, Rory's been here, Martin's been here, Westie's played millions of times. You know, they get some great fields. And usually throughout the Middle East, I would say this is probably, you get the best crowds at this week as well. So, you know, it all shapes up to be exactly what us as professional golfers want. You know, fantastic weather, loads of crowds, loads of fans, everyone having a good time, and a fantastic golf course.
Martin, you've won down the road, not once, not twice, 3 times, the Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship. At the start of a year, obviously the majors are sacrosanct. You want to win majors. That's what you're all in it to do, of course, is win those majors. The Ryder Cup now, the Olympics. Is the Omega Dubai Desert Classic, is it one of those kind of tournaments that you kind of look to and circle and think, Yeah, I fancy that one. Want to get that in the trophy cabinet.
Yeah, because it's a very cool tournament to win for many reasons. The guys who have won it before, those are good players. It's a golf course that is challenging, but if you hit fairways, you have a lot of chances to make birdies. So it's a golf course that really gets you excited. You can get to 5, 6, 7 under par if the putter is a little bit warm. And as you said, I won in Abu Dhabi a couple of times before. To win in Dubai, that would be great. Then this year we also go to Qatar. All those tournaments in the Middle East I really, really enjoy. And Dubai is a good place, just to play golf, or the other golf courses also. And as Danny said, that tournament really became better over the last few years, and they did a really good job.
You've got the Dubai double, Danny, because you won the DP World Tour Championship as well. And that must have been a sweet one as well, to come back and win that tournament tail end of, 2018? You won that one.
Yes. Yeah, it was, yeah. It was 900 and... What was it? There was a nice article. 950 odd days.
Yeah.
So from...
Is that what it was?
Yeah, so after we won Augusta, it took us 950 odd days to win, and we dropped to 462 in the world in the process. It's all been good fun.
I just want to to put our listeners in the picture. We were just talking off air about new media versus old media, and Danny, to paraphrase what you said, I don't care, don't read, don't care. I've got 2 kids, I've got enough in my life. I don't care what someone's writing on the back page of a newspaper in the UK. Martin, the German press, obviously I don't understand German, I don't read it. Danke is probably the only thing that I can give to you.
I think you spelt that wrong as well.
Yeah, with an A in the end. Yeah. That's okay, understood.
Jeepers.
I got it.
Oh, that's embarrassing. But the German press, how are they with you now?
I think they're very fair. The expectations are super, super high, because obviously golf is not as known as other sports in Germany. They compare myself to Michael Schumacher, to the German football national team, that if you're number 1 in the world, how can you not win the next 10 weeks? So, but as I said earlier when we had a break, certain comments, certain articles you should not take serious, because people have not been in the position that you have been in. So they can't judge and they can't rate your performances unless, when Danny tells me, why did you screw up the last 3 holes in Augusta, so you finished second, fair enough.
Yeah.
He understands, he knows, and then we can talk about it. Because I value his opinion in that.
Not a 15 handicappers.
Yeah.
No, and that is, and also just want to say quickly, Danny, he was really kind a couple of years ago when I struggled a little bit with a short game, and he took some time, and after the British Masters, after 1 round, he practiced with me for a little bit, showed me to chip and pitch properly, and talking about friends on tour and colleagues, and that is very rare that people do that. So that's why. That was a nice, kind gesture.
It's been an absolute pleasure and a privilege to have you both in. And thank you so much for sparing the time. We really appreciate it. It's just hit 8 o'clock, which means we're out of time. So we wish you the best of luck in this tournament, guys. The Amiga Dubai Desert Classic. To Danny, to Martin, thank you so much. Best of luck this week. And
Top stuff, boys.
Yeah, we'll be down there. We'll be cheering you on.